Hello. Today I will be returning to the Fletcher, a destroyer that, well, I have spoken very highly of for a good reason, of course. As I said earlier in my proper Fletcher commentary, I consider this the almost perfect combination of all the features you want in a destroyer. You got good maneuverability, you got great guns, you got good torps, even great torps. You got great anti-air with defensive AA, very long duration smokes, good concealment, all of these features that just make it great. And the first thing I do, of course, open up Yugumo. I see him. The first thing I do is pick a fight with him, because the Fletcher is extremely good at knife fights. In fact, the closer you get, the better you are, and you can pretty much take on anything. The only thing that can really beat you in a straight up DPS fight is probably the gearing, because of the additional gun and the advantages that comes with that. But even a gearing will lose a huge chunk of its HP taking that fight. Russian DDs, you'll beat them if you're close, but for example, something like a Khabarovsk with the huge HP pool it has will be trouble. And if, of course, the Khabarovsk is smart enough to actually turn away and start kiting you, then you should disengage, because the further away the ship gets from you... Oh, hello. 2 DDs spotted. I spoke up. At this point I smoke up, I start shooting the Benson, forcing him to smoke up, and then I switch to my original target, which is actually the Fletcher. I didn't really want to fight that Benson to begin with, or I didn't want to trade my smoke for his, but I shot at him just to make him smoke up, so he had to use one of his smokes. That's something people tend to neglect a lot, and something people don't really value enough, I feel, when it comes to... Oh, nice, got the Fletcher. That's something I feel people don't value enough when it comes to these DD knife fights. Who is forced to use the smoke first is at a disadvantage. Now, if you smoke up and you have spotting... Oh, let's slow down actually. This might be a bit close. Let's not eat a stupid torpedo. Easily dodged. Not even close. Yes. Someone in chat says skulls for the skull throne, potatoes for the potato gun. I assume someone is recognizing me. One of the joys I've had with playing this NA account is, of course, that I'm not recognized that often. But looks like I did get recognized here, but he just made it quite amusing. Anyway, as I was saying, something people tend to underestimate when it comes to these DD knife fights is the importance of having smoke. If both DDs have smoke, then it usually ends up in a stalemate. You smoke up, the enemy smokes up, you smoke up to counter it. But for example, if you pick a fight with an enemy DD and he smokes up, but there's no one actually spotting you, that means you have forced him to use an unnecessary smoke. Of course, you can try to get something out of it by... Oh crap, this is gonna be another... Nice, didn't need to paint on that side anyway. As I was saying, if you force the enemy DD to smoke up, but there's no one spotting you, then there's no need for you to blow your own smoke. Now, at some points there might be worth it to use the smoke, because usually you want to get the most possible use out of the smoke that you can. You only have 4 smokes. You see, I've stayed in this smoke a very long time, just trying to get some pots, just trying to get some damage in, and just get the maximum utility out of this smoke that I popped. But most of the time, you don't want to use your smoke. You want to conserve them for those really important times. And forcing the enemy DD to use the smoke is great, because then as soon as he leaves that smoke, and if you manage to engage him, and he does not have a smoke, and you have one, and you get something else to detect him as you pick the fight and you smoke up, then you of course gain that massive advantage of being in cover and being able to shoot at someone who doesn't have that cover to help him. Which is, of course, huge. That's a monumental advantage, and that will pretty much automatically win you that DD fight. So, conserving of smokes is something people don't do nearly enough. They are very eager to use that smoke. Especially, you see it quite often on DDs. They push into caps, which I like, but they don't really scout. All they do is sit at the very edge of the cap, and then as soon as they get detected, they don't even bother counter-detecting the enemy DD first, but as soon as they see that detected sign, they pop their own smoke. This is usually, of course, followed up by them being either radared or them being torped in their own smoke, because they made no effort to actually scout what the enemy was bringing their way. So they blow their own smoke in a panic, they give no information to their team, and they are down a huge tactical valuable element, which is a smoke. In fact, you see, most of the time if you watch my gameplay, you see I'm quite sparing with the smokes. In this case, I'm not even using my smoke yet, because I can still get damage none on this Benson, and my team is able to shoot him because I'm spotting him. So only now, when they actually start focusing me, when they actually start firing at me, only now do I pop my own smoke. And usually I find trading a bit of HP is acceptable if it means delaying that smoke usage as long as possible. Of course, here I got very unlucky. One of the Bismarck secondaries set the fire on me. It only one shell hit me, I think, and that one set the fire just as I'd used my repair. Unfortunate, but it happens, so I traded a bit more HP than I'd actually want to trade for delaying the smoke. But oh, whatever, it's not a big deal. But ultimately, people are... Oh, Missouri? Okay, well he's 9.2 km away, so I'm actually just gonna move away. Oh, it already ran out, no need to panic. Now, as I was saying, you shouldn't be too eager with the smoke. Of course, use the smoke when it looks like you're about to eat damage, but don't use it unnecessarily. There are plenty of options where smoking isn't even necessary at all. One of the most common things I see is people getting radared and they pop their smoke. And that's it's a panic reaction, I understand, but really take your time to understand what it is that's detecting you and if it's really worth blowing your smoke for that. Because especially if you get forced out of that smoke, then you have this huge window of opportunity where you are especially vulnerable because you have no escapes whatsoever. The only escape you have is running away, whereas smoke, which is your bread and butter survivability tool, is now down. So you see here, this smoke, I'm making the most out of it. I don't want to leave this smoke. This Missouri has already used his radar, so I'm going to try to kill him before he gets a chance to use it again. And of course my guns are constantly firing at him. The torps I hit for flooding forced his repair, so I know any fires I get on him now are going to be permanent. Second volley of torps on him, so I know the flooding I will get now, if I hit the torps, are going to be permanent. So that's the flooding and the fire, and I'm just continually shooting him, non-stop shooting. You notice I'm constantly moving in the smoke a bit as well. That's because if he decides to shoot me, I don't want him to have an easy hit. He uses the module that increases his proximity spotting to 3 km, so I move away from the smoke. I stop shooting once I'm outside the smoke, because I got a fire and flooding on him. He's gonna die anyway, so there's no reason to increase my concealment range right now. Will I get the kill? No, someone else took it, but whatever. I mostly did all the damage to him. Now you see, by the time I actually abandon my smoke, I only need 40 seconds until I have my next smoke ready. And usually when you are in this position where you don't have a smoke ready, and you don't have a smoke ready, you need to play it a bit cool. This is your most vulnerable time as a destroyer, when you have no smoke available, which means any sort of detection can really wreck you. That's when you need to play it safe. That's when you need to position yourself in somewhere where if you do get spotted, you have plenty of support from the rest of your team. And only when the cooldown is going down and I have it ready do I push up again and push into the cap. One of the most common ways I see DDs die is they push into caps aggressively without really knowing what is in there, and they don't have their smoke ready. And that's a very, very quick way to get killed. So I know there might be a Benson somewhere in this cap, so that's why I only push into the cap once my smoke is fully ready for it. There we go, Benson spotted, and I pick a fight with him. In fact, he might have just used his smoke himself. I think that smoke he used earlier was his. So he's in the situation where his smoke is on cooldown and he cannot use it to save himself right now. So his only escape is running away. And that's not the situation you want to be in. Because, well, his engine breaks, he loses speed, this constant Fletcher damage. He's not going to survive this. And that's why you need to disengage before your smoke runs out. Because if you wait until your smoke is actually fading, if something has snuck up on you and you aren't aware of that, then you're dead, just like he is. And only now that he is dead, do I pop my own smoke. And now I'm in a very good position to do it as well, because I am capturing the point. I know there's no radar threats near me because I've fully scouted the entire surroundings. There's unlikely to be any torps, but I am angled towards where the Benson died just in case he launched some last second torps. And I'm just hammering out DPM on this North Carolina. So that's why it's very important to manage the cooldowns of your smokes. Make sure you know when your smoke is fading. If you get caught in that position that Benson was, where his smoke was fading and he was still in the danger zone, so to say, he had no escapes. You saw, there was nothing he could do. I even had the Akatsuki who followed me up, so we were 2 versus 1, and because we were undetected, he didn't even know we were coming. And that's something you need to focus on, to not get caught with your pants down like that. It's okay to like not get the most value out of your smoke, leaving it a bit early, as long as it means you're getting away to safety. Because if you face an experienced player who will actually time your smokes somewhat well. In fact, I tend to time smokes, especially Russian and IGN smokes that I know will run out before mine when I play USDDs. I tend to happily wait them out. And if you're still sitting in those smokes when they're running out, then I'm going to have a huge advantage because I'll pick a fight with you, you shoot back, I go back into my own smoke that I popped earlier, and ta-da, you're spotted by everyone while I'm in safety and you're going to get killed. So you need to pay attention to your surroundings when using those smokes. The Akatsuki was not very smart. He hid in my smoke instead of spotting because optimally he should be spotting for me because I have significantly more DPM than he does. But I mean, it's random battles, everyone kind of looks out for themselves. Of course, non-stop fire on this Bismarck, 2 fires already on him. Never underestimate the guns. I retreat back into my own smoke after doing the spotting and launching the torps. That's the beauty of having these Fletcher smokes, you can utilize them for a long time. But I already know that this smoke will be fading soon. I also recognize the threat of Bismarck popping his radar, so I cannot just sit here and park, because getting caught sitting still in a DD is absolute death sentence, so I'd rather rely on maneuverability to stay alive. First thing I deal with is the Bismarck. His secondaries is I think a bigger threat than the Takao right now. I got a fire on him, which means he's going to burn to death, and now I'm going to close the distance with the Takao real quickly because I can't outrun him anymore, I have too little HP, but if I get close enough then my AP can quite easily pen him because the firing angles aren't great, so he has to show a lot of broadside, which means I should be able to citadel him, and there we go, he's close enough to land those citadels, which quickly adds up a huge ton of damage. Angle to dodge his shells, he had AP loaded I think, so I bounced a few of them, and for citadels I managed to secure the kill. So quite a short game, but I feel like it focused quite heavily on the DD interaction. A nice amount of credits for this game, 187,000 damage. It was the first win of the day, so of course I got a bunch of XP for it. Base XP, I didn't get my Kraken actually, I should have maybe tryharded a bit more to get the Kraken, but whatever, I'll take it. It was still a good daily win, getting almost 12k base XP, and of course a huge chunk of free XP. Also, I only landed 4 torps, so you see my torps only did 51k damage, but I still broke this huge amount of damage simply because I used my guns so much. And stat scores and so forth. Whatever, this was my short Fletcher commentary. I hope you guys enjoyed it.